Single step equations. So first of all, we're gonna need to make sure that we recognize when we have an equation that we can solve and when we have an expression that we can't solve. So taking a look at the expression on the left here, this can't be solved because there's no equal. So we can combine like terms, but without that equal sign, we can't solve anything. On the right-hand side here, we have an equation. There's an equal, and we're going to be able to solve for A. We're going to be able to find out what A is. Now, to do this, what we're going to do is use the properties of equations, and that is the main idea is we're going to keep everything balanced. What we do to one side, we're just going to make sure we balance it on the other side. What we're also going to do is we're going to undo. We're going to undo plus. So here we have a plus 5. We're going to undo a plus with a minus. And we're going to make sure we do it to both sides. So we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. A minus 5 equals 7. We have a minus. We want to do the opposite. We need to undo it with an opposite, which is an add, or a plus 5. And we need to, again, make sure we plus 5 to both sides to be able to balance the equation and get A by itself. So looking at the first example here, we have A minus 12 equals 3. What we want to do is undo the minus 12, and we're going to use an opposite. We're going to use a plus 12 to undo that. This becomes a zero pair and it cancels, but we have to make sure that we always do the same on both sides. Otherwise, it's no longer an equation and we can't solve it. So on the left-hand side, I'm going to add vertically. I just have A left over. On the right-hand side, I'm going to add vertically. 3 plus 12 equals 15. And when I check my answer, A is 15 minus 12 equals 3. Yeah, that works. That's the right answer. So I can undo plus and minus with a minus and a plus. When I have times, so here this is 2A. Remember that if there's no operation in between, the default is times. So between 2 and A is a times. So I need to undo that times 2. I'm going to undo it with a divide by 2. And I'm going to remember to do it on both sides. Here I have a divide by 5. To undo a divide by 5, I'm going to multiply by 5 on both sides. Now we have to be careful when we're multiplying here because when I multiply, remember that times is only on top. We don't times the top and bottom by 5. That's a big no-no. Times is only on the top, and since there's no fraction here, times is just times. But the reason why we want to do this is because the 1 times 5 on top cancels with the 1 divide by 5 on the bottom, and that leaves me with A by itself. That allows me to cancel the divide by 5, and then I get A equals 30. And if I check it, 30 divided by 5 equals 6. Yeah, that's right. So when I do this one, be very careful because that's not a minus 3. That's a times by negative 3. Okay, this goes together. That's a negative 3, and it's a multiplication. It's not a minus. We can't get rid of that with a plus. So I'm going to do an opposite. I'm going to divide by negative 3, and I'm going to make sure I do both sides. Divide by negative 3. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 cancels out. I'm left with A on the left-hand side. 12 divided by negative 3. There's only one negative there, so my answer is going to be negative. Then I just worry about the numbers. 12 divided by 3 equals 4. So my answer is negative 4. Now I can check this by putting it back in. So negative 3 times negative 4. That's a double negative. That means it's a positive. So I get positive 12 equals 12. Yep, that works. That's a good answer.